gents, I'm Frank Cooper.
I'm Marcy.
And we are the Watchers in the Basement, 2-man/2-woman style, or 2-man-woman style. Hope you're doing good. Hope you guys are having a great holiday week so far. Thanksgiving's coming up. Thank y'all again for joining us. Landman's back. Season 2 is back in full effect. Billy Bob Thornton and the rest of the cast are here in full swing. We are 2 episodes in Landman Season 2. From here on out, guys and gals, we'll be doing every other week to cover a pair of episodes. So we should be doing 5 episodes for the season. So today we'll cover episodes 1 and 2 of Season 2. The first episode was called Death in the Sunset, and the second episode was called Sins of the Father. And pretty much how we're going to do this season, we'll just do a synopsis of the episodes. We're not really going to cover piece by piece, scene by scene. Marcy, so far in this season, what are your thoughts of what you've seen?
So far, it's off to a pretty good start. I think episode 1 was a little bit slow for me. It was just kind of going over the things that happened in season 1, giving us a recap of Monty is gone. Now Cammy's at the reins of the company, with Tommy stepping up to be the president now, I believe, of MTEX Oil. And then episode 2, I think, really set up some of the storylines that we will probably see and that will probably be important for this season. So I think it did a good job, again, of recapping, of setting up, and then also of introducing us to new characters like TL, who is Tommy's father, played by Sam Elliot, who is wonderful and great. So I'm excited to see more of him and what he does in that role. And I'm excited to see more of Cammy, how she steps into that leadership role. We saw a bit in episode 1 where she was a bit nervous, but she got that, I guess, the spark that she needed from those catty bitches in the bathroom. So I'm excited to see also what she does and how she takes over the company, because she told all of those pretty much men in that luncheon was, hey, Monty was mean, but I'm meaner, so watch out, don't try to fuck with me. And thanks for coming, because I paid for this delicious lunch with your money. So love to see just more of Demi Moore and see what she does with that role.
Yeah, I agree. I think one of our issues with a lot of these shows, these Paramount shows by your truly favorite director, is the lack of depth when it comes to the female characters in this universe, whether it's Yellowstone, whether it's, I haven't watched Lioness and those shows, but Yellowstone and season 1 of Landman, some of the issues have been just like the lack of depth and like lack of female empowerment with a lot of the female leads, not just leads, but just females in the show. And I feel like they have an opportunity to really right their wrongs with Cammy. Look, John Hamm is he's a hell of a presence, right? Like he's, he'll have the star on the Walk of Fame one day. He is a heavy hitter when it comes to the small screen, when it comes to big time shows, right? So when they introduced him last year as one of the leads in this show, and we complained about Demi Moore's character Cammy being more of like a bit role, my guess was, you don't bring an actress like Demi on this project just to have her as like wallpaper, right? Like she has to, sooner or later, she has to like be brought in the forefront. With Monty now out of the way due to his death, this gives Cammy / Demi Moore a true opportunity to really, really cement her presence as a force, right? Mm-hmm. So we haven't really seen that in this universe, whether it's Yellowstone or in this adaptation. And I love the speech. I love the lead up to the speech, like you said, like with the 304s that was in the bathroom. talking about typical 304 shit, trying to leech on to a billionaire, suck them dry, literally and figuratively, and gain them millions. And I think that scene gave Cammy purpose. Because like when you watch her in the bathroom, she doesn't know what to do. She's nervous. This is a lot, and rightfully so. Like you're taking over a Fortune 500 multi-billion dollar company, and not just that, we don't know what has succumbed as far as like Monty's pitfalls. And I guess we'll find out with a lot of the business dealings leading up this season. But I think this gives Cammy an opportunity to really give herself confidence to be like, look, I'm not just a woman that's just here to take on to be a figurehead and like kind of just look pretty and have everybody do the dirty work. I want to get in there. I want to get in there and I want to learn, the ins and the outs, of how being a billionaire tycoon president and CEO is of a Fortune 500 company. So this is the opportunity is now. And I'm really interested to see, the speech was great. And I hope that it doesn't fall short going into the season after that speech, of what Cammy can do and Cammy grabbing the reins. Because how it's set up is that Cammy is going to like learn the ins and outs of this company and take it to newer heights, hopefully, right? So if that doesn't happen, I think it will be a really, really short-sighted pitfall and downfall of the female characters in this universe.
Yeah, I agree. With everything you said, I'm excited to see more of Cammy. Like one of my favorite movies is A Few Good Men because Demi Moore did such a good job of being a strong woman in that movie, a strong woman in a world of essentially men. And one of my favorite quotes from her in that movie when Tom Cruise was basically saying like, okay, like what is your jurisdiction? Like, do you outrank me? And she pretty much said like, my job is to make sure that you do your job. So my jurisdiction's pretty much in your face. So I love that line. I always think of it. I quote it all the time. So like that is the Demi Moore that I want to see in season 2 because we didn't get that in season 1. Like you said, she was just set dressing. She was just kind of like there. So yes, I'm so looking forward to Cammy. Listen, the Angela character and the mom and the daughter, I think they have a little bit more depth to explore there. I didn't love, and I put this in our group chat, was in episode 1 where again, they pretty much use the tired, oh, she's on her period, so that's why she's being crazy, and then had her, pretty much crash out on everybody and ruin that dinner scene. Of course, because she's on her period and she's hormonal and she's crazy. And I'm like, come on, like, Taylor, we know that you suck at like woman characters, but do you really like, is this really what you're doing? Like you've sunk this low. So I need to see more. I need to see them explore those two characters more because I think there can be a lot more to Angela and to Ainsley rather than, oh, look, we're hot and we're blonde and we're ditzy. Like they like to help at the nursing home. Like they do have that, they do care about people. So I want to see more of that rather than they're insane and they're crazy. Come on, Taylor, please.
Yeah, I was equally as disappointed with Angie's character in her college admission interview. I thought that was I just thought it was crass. Like you would think, within the characters of Angela and Billy Bob's character, we know that their parenting is very unconventional, right? Billy Bob's character kind of alluded to that in episode 2, but the evolving or lack of evolving of Ainsley's character is continuing to be an indictment on Angela and Billy Bob's character. Like it's just, there has to be some type of crossroads with Ainsley. You see it with Cooper. Cooper's trying to get out of the limelight of his father, learning from his failures, learning from what he did, how he crawled that debt, and trying to be better, right? Like he's trying to embark on his own path, and you really gotta try to give that to Ainsley as well, and we haven't seen that. And the college admission scene was just more of the same. Like it was just more of the ditzy blonde. I'm just here because I want to cheerlead, and I'm not really that smart, and kind of placating off of that, and kind of like exploiting her lack of intelligence and making light of it. And it's like, when are we gonna have that crossroad moment of Ainsley developing and like becoming more than just a teenage sex symbol, right? Like when, like what's gonna happen? Like, is something gonna happen to where there's the tide turns? And I'm not saying she's gonna become Shakespeare or, you know, Toni Morrison, but somewhere, somehow, some way, something needs to shake to where there is more to her than just an 18-year-old with OnlyFans body and OnlyFans mindset. Like it's becoming very tiresome. And it's like, Taylor, like for me, it's like it's almost an insult to the audience. Like, do you think that's all we want? You know, like I'm a 40-year-old man. Like, I love story writing. I love storyboarding, right? I love great writing. I like character development. I don't need to see a teenager bright her way through multiple seasons with no development. It's like, why is she there? You know, and it's like, there has to be more. And I hope there is, but it's like in season 1, it was just kind of like this with Ainsley. And it's like, I don't know. And like, you're not giving her much context either. Like, even with the relationship with her and her brother Cooper, I don't know why. And we talked about this last night, Marcy. I don't know why they hate each other. There's no context to it. There's nothing that alludes to what happened. There was a scene last season where Cooper's like, I think at the dinner table, like he told Ainsley, "You don't know how mom and dad were like. You know, you wasn't here yet. You was too young to remember." Okay, cool. Expound on that. What happened? Explain to her why you feel the way you feel. Why you're so upset at your mom and dad, or why there's angst or just level of unsatisfaction. But they never went back to that, and it's just more vitriol, hate between them. It's like, are we gonna like come around and like actually explain why? What's the origin? And it's just more of just like Taylor not explaining origins to like issues that are placating throughout the show between characters, and that's a problem that I have with him so far.
Yeah, because like, listen, I have a sister, and like, you know, when you're growing up, you have a love-hate relationship with your siblings. But it just seems like more than just like regular brother sister tension of, you know, them like messing with each other or fighting or arguing. It just seems to me like they might be making this kind of like a Jamie and Beth situation where there was something that happened traumatic in their childhood that has driven this wedge between them. And I mean, you're 18 and what, he's like 21, 22. At that age, you've hopefully grown out of like your sibling kind of like fighting and, you know, all of that. Like, I know 18 isn't super mature, but you learn to deal with your siblings in a more mature way, I think, by that age. So, I don't really know. Like, I hope they explain more of that dynamic. And I totally understand if he does have some resentment towards Ainsley because she doesn't remember how bad it was like when they were younger and their parents were together or like splitting up. Like, I understand that type of resentment to be like, okay, you didn't have to bear the brunt of it. You were too young to remember. But also, like you said, expand more on that so we can really understand and not just be wondering, okay, like, why do they hate each other so much? Yeah, so I want to see more of that. And I want to hopefully see situations where they have to lean on each other and actually maybe like work together or just get over that to be able to coexist in a more peaceful way. Even though they may not have to, because Ainsley is now going to be going to TCU, so she won't be in Odessa, but they're not writing her off this show, so I'm sure she'll be going back and forth a lot.
Yeah, I think one thing that would help Ainsley's development is more interaction with like more mature characters, I guess, on the show. Because it's almost like Ainsley's a tetherball with her mother, right? And then she's a tetherball. Her mother, which again is just an older version of Ainsley, immature, erratic, and then a tetherball towards her father, which that's daddy's little girl. Like he's never gonna tell her no. Like there's no room for a positive interaction for her to develop and mature. And then with Cooper, she's tethering to Cooper. There's I hate relationship there. I feel like if she's tethering to somebody of positive influence and maturity, we will see more maturity. Like for example, with Cooper shows a maturity with Ariana. In season one, like Ariana's she just lost her husband. She's now a widow. She's raising a newborn on her own, and she has no way of like knowing how to like just take care of like adulting type stuff. And Cooper's there, to show her how to pay the bills, how how to take care of stuff, how to bargain with family loss in court and litigation and settlements and stuff like that with her husband's passing. Like Cooper shows maturity there, and I think Ariana helps him with that. I don't know if Ainsley has somebody she can tether off of to like develop maturity. You will hope with like I was when I saw the college scene, the admission scene, I was hoping that the college admission person would show that type of maturity, and it was just her just dinging her every chance she could get, insulting her intelligence, questioning her, her position, and like just why, like questioning why she even applied to the college. Like it was just very condescending, and it's like you're not giving Ainsley any type of lifeline to like tether off of and mature. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that scene was interesting because to me, it kind of seemed like the show wanted it to seem condescending, to be like, well, this higher education lady is being really snobby towards Ainsley, but Ainsley still found a way to charm her way, into the college. And, she is going to TCU because she's got that walk-on status with the cheerleaders and all of that. And I just think it was made to seem condescending, to maybe have people to play into the college is elite and intelligent people are elite and they look down upon you. But if you are cute and you're blonde and you're ditzy, like you can still charm your way into a situation. So that whole scene just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Also, because like working in education and interacting with folks in higher ed and admissions, most of them are not that mean. Like they're not assholes to applicants, right? Like for the most part, they do try to be helpful and try to understand, okay, like why do you want to come to this school, and like typically try to guide them. They made this laid out to be just like a complete bitch. So I was just like, this just doesn't ring true. It just felt like too much of a contrived scene. And then also, how much money is TCU paying? Because they are featured so prominently in the season so far that I'm like, how much money are you making off of TCU to, have that whole scene? That was what, like over a 5-minute scene at the college and then walking around the campus. And then she's wearing like the frogs t-shirt in episode 2 when she's practicing. So I just want to know, how much money is TCU paying to be featured on Landman? Because damn, TCU, like you are featured very prominently in the season.
Yeah, Taylor has to be a donor, or had I went there, or had family that went there. 'Cause that was a very TCU heavily endorsed scene. TCU and Texas Tech, like they get shine. Tech, Cooper has been wearing that Tech hat since last season. I'm like, dog, Tech's getting some major shine in these episodes for sure. Um, let's talk about Cooper, man. So since last season, he's really trying to like find his own path. He's really trying to get out of his father's shadows, become his own man, find his own purpose. In the last season, he brokered some deals to frack and start drilling on some land in South Texas that are believed to be dry or close to dry as far as oil. And in episode one, they drew a little bit deeper. I think 6,000 feet deep, 6,000 feet or 6,700 feet. And now he's hit oil, and all the contracts, all the wells that I think he's 6 for 6 or something like that. Like he's to the point where they'll probably broker $10 million towards $10 million split towards him, going towards Cooper over the next couple of years. And we find out in this episode that the company that's drilling on behalf of Cooper on the 50-50 split is Andy Garcia's company. Guillermo, or what's his name in the show?
I forgot his name, but I remember the name of the company.
Yeah. Andy Garcia, Gallino, I think. Gallino. Let's say Gallino. But we saw in the last season, last episode, he is the cartel member who is brokering all those deals. That the henchman under him was kind of like going left and not abiding by rules. And now he is the guy that Cooper is laying in bed with. And thanks to Tommy and Nate, they find out that his company is now in bed with Tommy. In bed with Cooper. What are your thoughts on Cooper's development and his newfound partner in crime?
Cooper, you should have stayed in college, my man, because you are knocking on a door you do not want to be knocking on. And also, like, you should have consulted with your father before you made these deals, trying to think you're a big man. And no, you're not. Again, you should have finished college and also maybe gotten some life experience. I hadn't forgotten about the whole cartel aspect of it, but I wasn't even thinking of putting like that together of like, that's the company that's backing Cooper, until, he's telling Tommy the name of the company and he's like, Sonrisa. And I was like, that is Spanish. I was like, that is Spanish for smile. I was like, damn it, it's the cartel. That's what this is. So interesting. Excited to see what that just kind of storyline turns up to be. But again, Taylor, okay, you introduced some Hispanic and Mexican characters in episode 1 of season 1. They died in the first episode. So I was like, damn, okay, like no Hispanic representation then because you killed them off. And then now like the Hispanic representation is back, but it is the cartel. So can we please just get like some normal Hispanic representation, please, Taylor, not just cartel members or, poor oil men that die. Thank you. That would be great. But I hope that when Ainsley was telling Cooper, when they were kind of fighting, that, I'm glad to know that you'll die of lung cancer. I just hope it's soon. And he's like, maybe I'll, get hit by a bus. I hope that that's not some kind of foreshadowing that, Cooper's going to meet a very terrible fate by the time that the season is over. But also you don't mess around with the cartel, because what do? They either go after you, but most of the time they go after the people that you love. And for Cooper, that includes Ariana and her son, even though she's trying to push him away. So I don't know, Cooper. I think you kind of dug yourself a pretty big hole, and hopefully you'll be able to get out of it, because there is no oil there, my friend. You are just probably going to get fucked.
Now, refresh my memory. Last season, when we see Galino, when the cartel henchman they're abusing Tommy, and Galino comes in there and kills the henchmen and the guys who kind of went rogue against the cartel's orders. They made a deal, right, with Tommy about like some of the land and the protection. Am I remembering that correctly? So Tommy's already working with Gino, right?
I think their deal was they would pretty much like leave each other alone and just kind of not fuck with each other. But I don't know yet, though, if Galino knows that Cooper is Tommy's son. I don't know like how he wouldn't. It seems like he would know. So either he's doing this and like working with Cooper to somehow still fuck over Tommy, or he doesn't know and it's just kind of like a coincidence, and like that will set up the tension and the drama for the season. But yeah, it's supposedly kind of like a, you don't want to piss me off. Like, I'm the cartel guy that you want to work with. Like, you know, if we keep it cool together, like I'm gonna be cool with you, you're gonna be cool with me. But how do you stay cool with him if you then know that your son is involved with him and that could prove dangerous for him? So yeah, that's why I think this episode was good, because it now lets us know like where is the storyline going to go.
Yeah, let's read a chat from Trish. I for sure think he knows and is using Coop to get Tommy and keep him under his thumb, so to speak. I agree. Because remember, millions of dollars of cocaine that blew up in smoke last season. Someone has to pay for that, and I think Galino didn't forget that, and I think they're gonna have to like recoup and like work towards something, because like typically when money like that goes up in smoke, someone got paid for it, someone's gonna die for it. And I think Galino understands that. Look, man, the oil company is a powerful company, and we don't want to go to war, but at the same time, someone got to pay me back for all the shit that I lost. I got a boss to answer to too. I think like Trish says, I think Galino did put himself out there to like get Coop to sign on, because it was just too good of a deal to believe, like a 50-50 split, and you putting up no money to drill. The company's handling everything on the front end. Like who does that? Like that's, and like it's crazy to me how Cooper didn't like think to ask Tommy about this, or even ask Nate. Like Tommy, Coop, your father has lawyers on deck. You didn't think to like forward that contract to your father or to Nate or to somebody on your father's side to like just get a quick glimpse to see why this deal looks so sweet? Because typically, if it's too good to be true, it's typically too good to be true.
Oh, sorry. I agree. And I just looked it up. So yeah, at the end of season 1, when Galino saves Tommy, it was kind of like, we're going to coexist. I don't fuck with you. You don't fuck with me. But also, I want to pivot my business, not only drug trafficking, like that is small level now. Galino wants to also pivot into the oil business. So like Trisha said, like you said, I also think like they know that Cooper is related to Tommy, and that's kind of like their way of getting into it. Yeah, like Cooper is like screwed. So I don't know how they'll maneuver this season to hopefully have him not be screwed. But yeah, I mean, like that's some pretty high level players. So it'll be for interesting television, I can tell you that.
For sure. Let's pivot to Tommy a little bit in his childhood / new character in TL that's welcome to the fray. Sam Elliott, the great Sam Elliott, who was also in 1883, is now in Landman now, and he plays Tommy's father, TL. When we see him, he's in a nursing home, and it looks like he's at the end of his life. He's just he's hanging on to the little joys of life that he has left, such as the sunset, solace, things of that nature. We get an inside glimpse of Tommy's childhood just through his parents, and how they're viewed and, like, I guess talked about in these two episodes. Um, we didn't know much about Tommy's parentage in season one. In season two, we found out that his mother was a coked out maniac, so to speak, and Tommy's mom and dad lived in separate nursing homes. And we find out in episode one that Tommy's mother passes away, and when TL finds out in a nursing home, he's ill affected by it. It's almost like that part of him found closure in a way. Like, okay, she's gone. She's met her maker. I don't have to think about it much anymore. And it's almost like he's coming to grips of, like, his own mortality, of his failures, without really talking about it. But, like, just the action of, like, just trying to find solace and peace in every little thing, like the sunset. The sunset references really show a lot. I don't think Tia's gonna say much in this season, but I think we're gonna get more based off his physical actions than verbal stuff. And it was a powerful scene. One of my favorite scenes from this series so far is Tommy and Coop in the car as they're leaving the funeral home after picking a casket for Tommy's mom, and Tommy just basically telling Cooper, "Look, man, I wasn't raised to father children or father sons. I failed you. And this isn't me telling you that I failed you. I love you and for everything that you are, but I need you to understand that I wasn't built for this, and I'm sorry for not measuring up, whether it's in your eyes, but definitely in Tommy's eyes, of, like, not being the man that I needed to be to raise you, due to my upbringing." And man, Billy Bob was in his bag in here. He was in his bag. Like, again, not knowing much from TL, but, like, him just saying that, I grew up in a fucked up household, mom's coked out, dad who also failed in the oil business, projected his anger on me, his failures on me every night, and to hear that from Tommy and see that, and we know Tommy's not perfect in his own right, but to see Tommy's realizing his pitfalls as a father, but not bringing all the bad traits that T.O. displayed to him, to his son Cooper, and recognizing that, like, look, I know I'm not a great father, but I can't treat Cooper the way my father treated me, because that did me no good, and that would do Cooper no good. And for Cooper to say, "Look, man, I understand, but your fathering, you being there was good enough for me." That did a lot for me. That did so much for me. It was, I didn't know that Taylor had that in him, because we haven't really seen that type of, like, acknowledgments of, like, poor parenting and recognizing that. Even when, like, in Yellowstone with John Dutton and, like, Evelyn Dutton, and you never saw that. And to get that reflection period, or that reflection scene from Tommy to his son Cooper, I thought was beautiful, and it gave me hope as far as, like, their development. Because, like, one thing we didn't see much in season one was much Tommy Cooper dialogue, like father-son dialogue, and to get that in a 3-minute scene, I thought was everything. What were your thoughts?
Listen, that was such a good scene. Like you, I think that was probably one of my favorite scenes of this episode and of this season so far. Just, I think, and to go along with Trisha's comment, no disrespect, but men have a tendency to not take ownership of their faults. So it was good for Cooper to hear that and see that. It just kind of got to me. It made me think of men in my own life who, because they didn't have a healthy father figure in their life, then turned around and were not able to either be good partners, good husbands, good fathers, whatever. And it really shows how we as a society like to kind of joke around women and girls that have we like to joke about women and girls that have daddy issues, but men and boys can also like have lots of daddy issues, and that can really affect them in their own lives and in their own relationships and own parenting. So it was good to have that scene for Tommy to acknowledge that so Cooper could understand, right? To be like, okay, this is why I wasn't around so much. It had nothing to do with you, and everything to do with me, and I didn't want to put that on you. So it was easier for me to stay away than to stay and to try to do better, because you can want to try to do better so much, but you can also just fall into the same habits that even if you don't want to, and then you just keep on repeating it. So I think that was just a really strong scene. It's very true to life, and I like this depth that we got more from Tommy, and how he and then Cooper are able to have this closeness, this bonding. I think it was also important for Tommy to hear that Cooper was like, you know what, like, I love you. And like I understand that. And I think that was so healing and restorative. Um, and I think that again is setting up for the rest of the season, where Cooper's probably going to lean a lot on Tommy and really use his expertise and everything to hopefully save him from this alliance with the cartel that he unwittingly got into. But this is the depth that I want to see again from like Angela and Ainsley, because we did get a little glimpse of this depth from Angela in season 1. So let's keep on doing that, and really giving more for Allie Larter to be able to play into.
Yeah, I think just watching Tommy, how he parents, like he rarely ever says no. Like he gives to his kids, and I think it's almost out of guilt, just because of how he grew up and how he probably heard the word no a lot, and the abuse that he received from both parents. I think that kind of put in overdrive of how he quote unquote spoils his kids, I guess, in a way. Like I haven't heard him say no to Tommy, to Cooper or Ainsley at all. And I think that's just overcompensating from like not just having a normal childhood. And it's starting to like, I guess, resonate with him now that he has to face it now with his mother's passing. I want to talk a little bit more about Cammy. Hold on. We have another Trish comment on a lot of topic. One of my favorite scenes is watching the wife and daughter get into trouble at the nursing home. Yeah, so Angela and Ainsley are doing their due diligence of like spreading happiness and joy. The last season in 2 episodes at the nursing home, and I guess I don't know, was maybe social workers, adult protective services came up and like didn't like some of the fun that they were having with alcohol and all of the fun they're having, and Ainsley and Angela kind of went into a kick-ass mode, and Tommy comes into a save the day again once the sheriff calls Tommy on FaceTime saying that his wife and daughter are arrested, and Tommy pulls his magic and gets him off the hook. We do complain about Angela and Ainsley a lot of the lack of development, but it does give me some type of like hope that they both have big hearts. They might we question like their character arcs, but one thing they do care is for people in general and like wanting to help. So I do love seeing that. Even like Angela in her own way trying to be there for Tommy with his mother's passing. You can tell Angela doesn't know much about her dearly departed mother-in-law and her trying to be there for Tommy in that way. And Tommy kind of like brushing it off and just seeing it as like a deed that needs to be done, trying to find closure. So that is cool to see of Ainsley and Angela showing their heart and how big their heart is in that fashion. So in this episode 2, we see Cammy is now dealing with a lot of the blowback of Monty's dealings when he was president. Apparently, there was an oil rig that got destroyed by a hurricane off the coast of Louisiana. The insurance company did a floozy of a mistake. They went ahead and completely gave the huge premium of the damages, the $400 million, to Monty and Tex Oil, but they can't seem to find the $400 million. They don't know where it's at. They can't seem to. I don't know how you lose $400 million. That's a lot of money to lose. But apparently, I guess what's supposed to happen when something like that does happen, the money's supposed to go back to rebuilding whatever got damaged, and that didn't happen. And now they have to track it. And Cammy has a potential lawsuit on her hands. Marcy, talk about that and what Cammy probably has to deal with potentially.
Yeah, that I'm guessing we're going to learn more about Monty, even though he's gone after his death. So that would be interesting. But yeah, essentially this well in the coast just kind of blew out. They got a $420 million settlement that they were supposed to use to drill another offshore well, but they didn't. And now we're looking for it. The assumption is that those funds were misdirected to other drilling projects, which they weren't supposed to do. So now Cammy has to try to figure out, okay, I'm getting sued. I've gotten served. And that scene was just so crazy. You see her just kind of jogging and her bodyguards are riding around in that SUV behind her, and then almost take out this process server that was going to serve her. So that was just funny that, he probably shit his pants just trying to do his job and serve her with these legal papers. But she's going to have to try to figure out what happened. How do we fix this? And who's going to go down for it? Monty is gone. He can't go down for it. Is it going to be Cammy? Is it going to be Tommy? Was Monty so shady that in moving Tommy up to VP status and then president status after he died, is he going to somehow be a fall guy? Like, is that the type of guy that Monty was? We don't know. I think we're going to figure that out, but a lot more work for the lawyers this season.
Yeah, I think that's what constitutes a lot of Monty's heart attacks and strokes and all of that, just dealing with all that shit. And I don't know, I had a lot of mistrust towards Monty season 1, only because when he called the law firm in Houston, and I think they were supposed to bring Hastings, but Rebecca Falcone showed up, it looked like to me that Monty was setting up for Tommy to fail, to take the brunt of the blame for the airplane accident that blew up the drugs and all that kind of stuff. And Tommy felt that way too, in season 1. And then when you learn more about Tommy's failings in oil and how Monty's successes was potentially supposed to be Tommy's successes, or Monty probably learning from Tommy and like parlaying that into success and billions, while Tommy is dealing with $500,000 in debt. I think they said he's dealing with. Who knows? But
was it 500,000 or 500 million? It can't be 500 million. That's like almost no. I don't know. It's a lot. It's just shit.
A lot. Yeah, it's definitely a lot. They mentioned it in season, I think episode. It might have been this episode that they mentioned it, but it was a lot of money. In debt. And now Cammy has to deal with this now. And it'll be cool. It'll be nice to get some John Hamm flashbacks, to get a better idea of some of the backroom dealings. Because we saw a lot of dealings in season 1, but not a lot of the like backroom dealings that potentially became fatal deals. it would be cool to see some of the background flashback deals of like things that went left to get a better idea of like all the shit that Monty fucked up on that Cammy now has to assume and try to fix, right? So again, it's setting up for Cammy to be, a badass if they do it right, right? If they create an opportunity for Cammy to clean these messes and like look more like a person on the job who's learning, but at the same time is righting the wrongs of a predecessor / her husband. So we shall see. But to lose 400 million or not have a count of where it went, when you have smart guys like Nathan on your legal team and like now Rebecca, that to me tells me that Monty was covering shit up that he didn't even want his own staff to know.
Yeah, that 400 million isn't lost. It got it became lost. Somebody made it go away. Somebody used it for something else. I don't think it's quote unquote lost. Somebody knows where that went. Who knows what it was spent on? And I hope Tommy and Cammy don't have to go down for it. Like, I want them to be able to thrive in their new positions. And I hate to see a woman go down for something her husband did. Like, what the fuck? No, thank you. So yeah, I'm interested to see how that plays out. And like you said, will we get some flashbacks of Monty? I think that would be interesting. I don't think I read or heard anything about him actually filming anything for season 2. So we may not. It might just all be conversations to paint some of that backstory. I just want more Nathan. Like, I like him. He's so awkward, but also he's so good and competent at his job, but awkward in dealing with this family that he has had thrust upon him in his quiet life living out in West Texas. And now you've got Tommy's crazy wife and daughter. So I want more of him, more of Rebecca as well. I think she may have gotten a little bit over her head on things, which is what Nate said would happen, right? So I just want to see more of both of them. I want to see more of both of them like going head to head, but then also maybe again working together to figure out all of the shit that the whole company and then Tommy and his family are getting themselves into. I think it's going to be a fun season for the lawyers for sure.
Absolutely. Rebecca might be the first intelligent, strong woman in the Taylor universe. Like, she takes no shit. She's been in multiple rooms, multiple litigation rooms with men, powerful men, and not just only had her own, but whooped ass. So she's somebody that gives me hope for the tide to turn for the female characters in this universe, for sure.
I Monica Dutton. I
love
to hate on Monica, and a lot of that is racism. But I liked Monica. She was smart. She held her own with all of those crazy people. But you're right. Rebecca is like a strong woman, takes no shit. So I like her. And Trisha's comment, yes, Storm of the Century. That is the actor from Storm of the Century. I had to look it up as well when I was doing when we did season 1 and I was looking up the cast. That is him. So yeah, watch Storm of the Century, I guess, if you want to. It's not great like a lot of the Stephen King adaptations are, but you can watch it on Hulu. But yeah, the main antagonist in Storm of the Century is played by the guy who plays Nathan.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay. Let's talk about Ariana. When episode 1 opens up, it looks like they're a year into the relationship. Cooper and Ariana are living together. Cooper's moved in. He's assumed the role, I guess, of stepdaddy and lover. And he has these big plans of like making it big and like taking Ariana out of that area and like really living a lavish life. That's like his goal. In episode 1, it seemed like it looked like Ariana had the same shared vision. It looked like, to me at least, of them, not glitz and glamour, but like just being in a better position financially and and like being at the point where they can be their own people and like not having to rely on anybody and be their own corporation. And it looked great. Like Cooper was hitting on all cylinders with all the oil and all the rigs coming at full capacity, getting hundreds of barrels a day pumping out of there. And then episode 2 was like Ariana went just a 180, went the opposite direction. I thought that was kind of weird because like, how does one phone call, not phone call, but how does like you not hearing from your boyfriend for a span of 4 or 5 hours because his phone died, all of a sudden turns into that's not your dream, that's not my dream anymore. That was your dream all along. Did that? It just I don't know. It just seemed like something that would like I would like that to have played out over the span of the season, like a digression of like her realizing like maybe this is not for me, but to be so gung ho about it in episode one, not just episode one, but in season 1 of like I'm in love with this person and like he sees me as an equal and like he sees me as a partner, not just in a romantic relationship, but also a partner in business, and wanted to include me in things in episode 1 to like now, nah, bro, that wasn't my dream. I just want to be in this house and live off my widow's legacy and just raise my kid on my own. Get the fuck out of here. Like, am I off base by thinking that? Like, what was your thoughts on like the complete 180 from Ariana?
Maybe she was on her period. No. I think what you're doing is you are looking at it through the lens of a man because you are a man. From the lens of a woman, like Trisha said, loss and grief has a way of hitting you and giving you a sort of PTSD. I think that is part of it. Also, it's been 4 or 5 hours and you have not answered me. Your phone died. Where's your charger? Charge that phone. Give me a call back. What are you doing? Why are you not calling me back? I think a lot of that is playing in her head of like she said, I didn't hear from you. I thought of the worst. As somebody who also always thinks of the worst possible thing when I don't hear from someone, like that, that completely made sense to me. I don't think it must have been like an overnight switch type of thing. I think it probably had been building for a while, but I think now Ariana is seeing, maybe I jumped into this too quickly, right? Like I didn't give myself time to grieve my husband. I got myself into this relationship and now I thought maybe it would be like something nice to, now I can ease into it and we can live this quiet life like you said. All of a sudden now you're not going to live a quiet life. You're going to live a life of, you're making a lot of money, but that comes with a lot of risk. And like she said, that's not the life that she envisioned for herself. She's thinking, oh my gosh, we're going to be making all this money. This means we're going to have to move to a new place and deal with new people. And she just wants, I think she wants the safety of the life that she knows, right? She's gone through something traumatic and she's trying to heal from it. And her life right now feels safe. She has her house. She has her son. She's gotten that settlement money. She's got the family around her and she has Cooper. This change, even if it's like a change, right? Making lots of money and moving to a nicer neighborhood and nicer house. I think that change for her personifies like change equals bad. Change is not safe. I'm not going to be safe if we make this change. So I think that's where it probably came from. And I'm glad that she realized this. I'm glad that she realized this may not be something for me at this moment, especially because you did see a little bit of that awkwardness whenever he comes home and he tells her like all this stuff about they hit oil and he's all dirty and, she's like, go in the back and, hose off there because you're not coming in my shower like all dirty and oily. And he's like, yeah, like go get some dish soap because regular soap won't cut it. She's like, this isn't the first time I've done this. I think that was kind of it was awkward. And I think they also realized how awkward it was that, yeah, like she's done this before. She had a whole husband and she went through these experiences with him. And now she's going through it with Cooper and it's the same, but it's different. So I completely understood her, I think, from the perspective of just being a woman and worrying, and also going through situations where you think your life changes for the better and it didn't, and you are like, I would have rather stayed broke than be in a situation where we're making good money and now like things have changed and it's gotten bad and I don't like it. So I understood it from her perspective, but I also see your perspective of it does feel like a 180, and that's probably what Cooper's thinking. It's like, oh, like we were fine yesterday. Like what happened between yesterday and today? So yeah, like both viewpoints are completely valid. I don't think she's wrong and I don't think he's wrong. I think they're just realizing that the situation is difficult and maybe they jumped into it too quickly.
I get the PTSD. I get the traumatic experience she's had. It's been a whirlwind for her, from losing a husband to like now venturing out and like having to fend for herself and her son. I totally understand it. I would like for that to be shown. I would like to see the hesitation. Like all last season, from when the settlement was final to Cooper laying out this grand plan of like potential, being his own man, I saw no hesitation from Ariana. Like none at all. She was supportive. It was all good. And then episode 1, you saw a little bit of the whitening, but my problem with Taylor is there was no storyboard of the widening of hesitation from Ariana.
You're
like,
right.
She went from the minute that her husband died in episode 1, the funeral, they fall in love, they sleep together. He works out a settlement with Rebecca to get her money to find closure. Then he rolls out the plans of like, hey, this is what I want to do with my life, and I want you a part of it. All this happened in the span of season 1, going to season 2, and then boom, I this is not what I want. It's like, goddamn, like, can we show that? Can we at least? I feel like we show that, it gives Ariana's character, the person who plays Ariana, the floor of really showcasing her acting bag. Mm-hmm. And I feel like we skipped the acting bag that she could have displayed of like hesitation throughout season 1 going to episode 2 of season 2. And I feel like we got robbed as an audience. Because again, we talk about Taylor not giving women the real estate of like really showcasing development and really showcasing acting as, just acting in general, whether they're a damsel of distress or a sex symbol or just like an erratic teenage child. This is an opportunity to really showcase an acting bag for Ariana, and we didn't get that. And I feel robbed as a viewer.
I agree. I think in the season 1 pods, we dragged the character for it. We were like, Ariana, girl, what are you doing? Like, you met him at your husband's wake. What is happening? You're moving way too fast to all of a sudden turn so quickly. And like you said, not give you the tidbits. Like Trisha said, like we've been saying, Taylor doesn't do a great job of writing for women characters. And I also think we hear about how, most women are the ones that initiate divorces. And the man is like, I didn't see that coming. Like it came out of nowhere. And then women are like, bitch, I've been telling you, I've been giving you signs. Like I've been unhappy. I've told you I'm unhappy. I've shown you I'm unhappy. This shouldn't have come out of nowhere. He didn't show that. Taylor didn't show that. He didn't. That's where he went wrong. Like you said, we didn't get that. She might have been feeling this way for a while, but he sucks at writing women characters, so he didn't show that part. But also, I think just speaking from my experience of talking to like men in my life and things like that, it's like they also feel like women do things like, like a complete 180 overnight. So that just might be something that women do. We like to change our minds sometimes, and it might feel like it comes out of nowhere. And for us, it might not. It might be something that we've been thinking about, but maybe we haven't said anything. It's hard to be in relationships. So I feel for them, and they're young. I don't know what it's like to be a young widow, but they're young. They need to grow up and have some life experiences. And also, like, Ariana, stay away from him because now he is in bed with the cartel. Get your ass far away from this man. Like, no.
What did you think of the advice that Tommy gave Cooper about Ariana? As somebody watching the show and seeing a man give advice to a young man about relationships, how would you grade that advice, and what did you take from that?
I I liked it. I think it was I don't know if this is how men speak to each other about their relationships and dealing with the women in their lives. I hope that it is because I think women, we have this perception of men are always going to like tell their boys or like the men in their life who are complaining about their relationship issues, like, just fuck it, right? Like, do whatever you want. Like, she's just being a bitch, whatever. Like, at least I think that. But I hope that I'm wrong and that men actually like have conversations where they hold each other accountable to be like, okay, like, it's not that deep. Just you can fix this problem with your relationship. Either you want to be in the relationship or you don't want to be in the relationship, but figure out how to fix it. It doesn't have to be as difficult as we make it. So I like that Tommy was able to give him some advice and hopefully put some things into perspective. And it did feel like a healthy way for men to communicate about relationships instead of what we think, what we assume, or what we have seen in other movies or TV where it's just like, whatever, she's a bitch. Like, you're the man, do whatever you want. There's plenty of other women out there. I mean, Tommy's right. It's not that deep. Like, your relationship problems, you can fix it.
I love that. I love the advice for two reasons. Well, I want to talk about your point about you hope that men give advice. Mature men give advice of that nature. Like I have a brotherhood. I have a network of brothers that a lot of my friends are married, and I can't speak for a married person because I've never been married, but I can speak from a person of morale of how to treat somebody and how to do right by somebody. Now I know marriage is not something I speak of because I've never been in it, but men who are mature and who have a good network of brothers will always give good advice, or at least try to, and not placate up the toxic masculinity that is out there in the manosphere. Point one. Point two, I love the advice that Tommy gave Cooper. I loved it for two reasons. Reason number one, I loved it for Tommy because it was the first time we truly saw Tommy lay in his fatherly bag to Cooper, which I hope in season two, I was like, two things I was really rooting for this season. The rise of the women and seeing Tommy as a father. And that line that he gave Cooper about listening to her, letting her do his best for her, and not saying anything. Let her talk. Give her space. Because when you look at Ariana said in season one, like, I was a housewife. I was here to take care of the home. I didn't do none of the bills. I wasn't given a platform to speak or to give a position of thought as far as like giving my opinion and in the pretty much in the whole grand scheme of things of the marriage. I was here to raise kids, open my legs, give my husband a child, and play wife as far as like the traditional mindset of the 1950s. And you saw the growth of how Ariana had to get out of that and kind of learn that she's much more than that. And to hear Tommy say that, and to not only for Tommy's sake of like seeing him as a father, but to see Cooper, as young and green as he is, to be so receptive to it. Because even when Cooper experienced and heard Ariana say that, he was taken back. But I will give Cooper credit. He didn't react in a reactive way of like, what the fuck? Like I'm doing this, that, and third for you, bitch. Like why ain't you appreciate what I'm doing? Like it came from like, I'm taken back, but let me digest what you said. Let me remove myself from the situation. Let me sleep on it. Let me go get advice from somebody I respect, and I'm gonna come back and see what and come back and respond. And I think Cooper not saying anything when Ariana said that really spoke volumes to his maturity in that manner. And I love how receptive he was to Tommy taking in that advice. So I do have hope for Tommy. I mean, I do have hope for Cooper and Ariana. I don't think that's the end of them. I think Ariana is overwhelmed, and rightfully so. I think when you lose the amount of loss that she's had, it's especially at that young age, you don't know how to verbalize, you don't know how to like navigate through that, all those emotions. So I don't think it's the end of Cooper and Ariana. I think it's only the beginning of a new page. Now it's gonna be a lot of drama with the cartel, but I think it is the opening of a new era for them. I can't wait to see their next conversation in regards of Cooper and Ariana. Marcy, is any other parts of this 2 episodes you want to talk about?
No, I love that you brought up the point of Cooper's reaction when she's telling him all this, because you're right. Like a lot of times, and like I said, I'll speak from my own experience, but sometimes in a relationship, in a marriage, from the perspective of the woman, sometimes it's difficult to really speak about how you're feeling. And this might also go back to, oh, like, I didn't see this. Why didn't you tell me? Like, I didn't know. Because sometimes you want to hold parts back because you are afraid of how, and again, I'm speaking about like heteronormative relationships, how the husband is going to react, right? Like, you might want to give them some feedback or like really tell them what is on your mind or what's going on. And you give them a little bit, but you don't want to reveal everything, not because you don't want them to know, but because you're afraid of how they will react, whether it's just they're going to be angry or you're going to hurt their feelings, or if it's really bad, like you could get hurt. So I appreciate that, like you said, it was a mature reaction to, okay, like I'm hearing all of this and maybe I don't agree with it and I don't like it, but instead of taking it from 0 to 1,000 and getting angry at you, and like you said, throw things in her face, say, well, if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't have gotten your settlement. I like that. Again, he was just kind of like, okay, let me take this in and seek out some advice. I love Tommy's advice again, because it's also advice that takes you a while to realize and understand. I think when you're Cooper's age, you may not understand that you just need to listen and give them a safe space to tell you how they're feeling and to listen. And to Trisha's point, men tend to just want to be fixers and be like, oh, this is what you feel is wrong. Like, here's how we fix it. And a lot of times we don't need you to fix it. We just need you to listen. And like, maybe we can fix it ourselves or we can work together to fix it. But your first instinct doesn't need to be like, here's how we fix it. It should be, let me listen to you and try to understand you. So I really appreciated Cooper's reaction. I appreciated Tommy's advice. Again, it's just with age, like you learn these things with age and it takes a while. So I'm glad to see that Tommy's imparting some of that wisdom to Tommy. So Tommy is imparting that wisdom to Cooper, so hopefully he doesn't have to wait until he's 40 or 50 years old to realize this and to have the light bulb kick on. But no, from these 2 episodes, I'm excited to see what comes next. More Andy Garcia, not going to complain. He's a great actor. I think it will be interesting to see what he does with the role. Definitely want to see more Cammy to see what she does with the role. And people are probably gonna die. I mean, I think we'll probably lose at least one character before the end of the season because they're setting this up to be really tense with the cartel aspect of it and then with the lawsuit aspect of it. Maybe Cammie's like a G and she'll have people taken out because, you know, she doesn't want this lawsuit to proceed. We don't know. It's all just open sky from here. Like it can go either way. And, you know, Taylor is a little bit predictable when it comes to storylines. So some of the themes that we may have seen in Yellowstone and some of his other shows will probably come back. So yeah, we're gonna lose characters. Don't get too comfortable and don't fall in love with any characters because he may kill them off before the end of the season.
This is true. I mean, we don't. And hopefully he proves us wrong. When it comes to Cammie, we don't know what's on brand for Cammie because we've never seen Cammie in this position before. So we shall see. But when it comes to billion-dollar investments, cartels, that typically means death is at somebody's front door. So I guess we shall see. I just hope Cooper doesn't get killed. I really like Cooper. I think Cooper has a lot of potential to really be a newer, approved version of Tommy in a good way. Like, you know, a father, because as a father, you want your son to be better than you. You want your kids to be a better version of you. And I think it's setting up for Cooper to be that. We know Cooper has a soft heart. We know Cooper's caring. We know Cooper's empathetic. Hopefully we do see Cooper throughout the duration of this series and he doesn't get cut down. Hopefully. Again, thank you so much, guys and gals, for coming up and watching us today for episode 1 and 2 of season 2 of Landman. We'll be back December 9th. We'll be doing every 2 weeks, covering 2 episodes every 2 weeks. We are very grateful for you guys. I know we had Wicked yesterday, so go on the Watchers YouTube channel, watch our Wicked episode from yesterday.
Before we end, I know yes. Trista in the comments said, let's talk about the Marshall's trailer. So do you have like a couple minutes to tell us your thoughts on the trailer for Marshall's that why Marshall's that comes out in March of 2026?
Yeah. It looks like Taylor's going to network TV. It'll be a CBS show, so we'll probably get 16, 20 episodes of this on CBS. I just hope that Marshall's is not a let's fix what happened in season 5 Yellowstone type of show. I hope they really pivot and make it about Casey and not about the Dutton legacy, but more about Casey's pathway of being him and being his own man and leading his own family and pretty much being a better version of John. And you know, we know going into this show, he's lost a lot. He lost both his brothers, as he mentioned in the trailer. He only lost his son at one point. He only lost his wife. He lost his father. So it looks like he's a man that's trying to recover from a lot of loss. And it looks like he's set up to be a badass in this series. So I'm excited for it. I'm excited because Casey's my favorite. He's my favorite Dutton outside of Spencer. In the whole Yellowstone family tree. So I'm excited about it. I know Trish says, anyone else think it was weird that Monica's not on the current cast list and wasn't in the trailer? I did. I know we saw Tate. Maybe she shows up later on as a recurring role. Who knows? Maybe there was some type of contract dispute with Paramount / Taylor. We shall see, but it will be weird not to have Monica in the show since last we remember Monica and Casey were good. They were on good footing when they left the ranch, along with Tate. So we shall see. Marcia, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, love to see Casey be a badass. I'm glad that it'll be on CBS because after Landman season 2 ends, I'm canceling Paramount Plus again because I don't watch it year round. I only get it when these shows come out. Which means it'll probably be a little bit more of a sanitized version of a Taylor show, which is fine. Also on the Monica thing, a lot of people are hoping that she's dead. again, I don't know where all this Monica hate comes from. I hope that she is alive and she's doing well, and maybe she's back to being a professor at the university and she is happy and not bothered by all of this fucking drama that she has to endure because of Casey's family. And I love that Mo and that Rainwater are going to be in it because they are also badasses. So yeah, I'm excited.
Let's get it. Let's get it, man. I'm excited too. And we will cover that as well. But yes, please follow us on YouTube, Apple Music, Apple Podcasts. Man, I haven't done this so long. We're on a lot of different streams, so follow us. We're on Facebook as well to get a lot of latest episode news and things that we're gonna follow. With the Doomsday trailer coming out, Avengers Doomsday coming out in December as well. We might get some Marvel news coming up regarding Spider-Man, a couple other big plans coming out. X-Men 97 coming out next year as well. Daredevil next spring. So we got a lot of episodes, a lot of things to talk about coming up. Again, Road to 500. Please like, share, subscribe at Watcher's Basement on YouTube. If you have any shows that you want us to talk about, that you have interest in, please let us know. Again, for myself and for Marcy, this is Landman Season 2. Thank y'all so much.